This is a Pele Media podcast.
Welcome back to Goonies Minute, everybody. Goonies Minute is the fan podcast where we explore the film Goonies minute by minute. I'm Brady.
And this is Chris.
And today we're coming at you with minute number 32 of the Goonies. Chris, right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor because I know there was something you wanted to announce for our local listeners, which is something that's kind of like right up your alley a little bit. So what you got?
I will be hosting a karaoke at Lava Cantina.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get to MC that thing pretty soon.
There you are.
It's
So
one of many talents that I have.
You're going...
I'm a real estate guy, Uber guy, podcast guy, DJ guy, ladies man.
Oh.
All the things that you could think of, I am here to offer it. But most importantly, I'm a Goonies Minute guy.
There you go. So I guess for local listeners, Lava Cantina is a really cool place. It's like a restaurant bar in
For local listeners,
Perkins Road.
they all are like, all right, remind me not to be there that night.
Yeah. If that Goonies Minute dude is going to be there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So you're going to be going from co-host to host. Very
Yes,
cool.
It'll be pretty cool.
That's up your alley, too.
I love it. Maybe
Yeah.
I like hearing my voice. I don't know.
That might be it, too.
Might be it.
That might be it. Well, all right, cool. I will definitely be there.
You better.
Yeah.
Well, without further ado, do you want to get into the minute?
Let's get into the minute. In the previous minute, we saw the Goonies almost get away from danger by simply ordering some water and being on their way. But everything went awry when Mouth gave Ma Fratelli a sarcastic response. It didn't end well for him as she grabbed his face. At 32 minutes, Ma Fratelli pulls a switchblade on him, implying that she is going to cut out his tongue. All three of the other Goonies cover their mouths when she asks if they like tongue. At 32 minutes and 10 seconds, she puts away the switchblade and forces the boys over to a table. They all quickly sit down. Chunk falls out of his chair. At 32 minutes and 23 seconds, Ma Fratelli walks back to the kitchen, and Chunk begins to try and explain what he just saw. Just as he is able to get out all of the words, Mouth tells him that he is fed up with his stories. At 32 minutes and 53 seconds, Ma returns with 4 rust-colored waters and slams them down on the table. They each thank her. Mikey calls her sir, but quickly corrects himself by saying, "Thank you, ma'am." And thus ends minute 32 of the Goonies. All right, so we got some cool stuff going on in this minute. What do you got?
Remember at the end of 31, Ma was holding Mouth
Yeah.
and grabs him, his tongue, and said, "Do you like tongue?" And, that's pretty scary as it is.
Yeah.
But then everything it's like they went further than maybe they need to go. And then she brings that left arm around, and the old-fashioned switchblade.
Yeah.
And it's really, you got to look in her eyes.
It gets serious.
But think about, this is another one of those moments that we've talked about throughout this movie. Think about the movie started with a man hanging.
Yeah.
Then, and we're going to have more of this,
Mm-hmm.
but think about that. I mean, it's the man hanging. There's like these almost violent situations that they PG it down a little bit, but you know what's going on. It's really freaky.
Yeah.
And this is scary, talking about cutting this kid's tongue out.
Yeah, and the way it's shot, too. I mean, it's not just from a long shot or
this
anything like
is
that.
right
It's in your
there.
face. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and
it's weird. It's like in a sadistic way. It's kind of made funny, but
Right.
because it's a kid's movie. But man, think about what's really going on.
think about what's really going on. And then you're right. You're going to see stuff later on in the movie that puts this to shame.
Okay, this is something that I caught in the minute. Would have never caught watching it, and it may not be a big deal, but it seemed forced to me. All of the kids, when Mama Fratelli is holding Mouth like this, they all have their hands over their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
And as it gets more intense, their eyes are big and their hands are over their mouths, all of them. I don't know if in my entire life, whenever I've been freaked out, I've put my hand over my mouth.
Yeah.
And it seemed forced, and it just was so weird. It's such a strange reaction. Then again, she says, "You like tongue?" And they still have their hands over their mouths.
Well, they're protecting it's an instinctual thing.
Wait.
They're protecting their tongues.
Guess what? I just got it.
Seriously?
And you helped me.
I really thought that they were all doing that because they were afraid.
Dude, that's crazy.
No.
Am I the dumbest sucker in the world? And you're not going to cut that.
No, I'm not going to cut that.
That's unbelievable. That's terrible.
Hey, well,
what an idiot. Feel free to, my insight is second to everyone, not second to none.
Welcome to Goonies Minute. It's a constant learning process.
Boom, boom, boom,
Doo-doo,
boom.
What is that from?
Well, Price is Right, fail theme.
God, I love that show. Is Drew Carey still hosting that? Because I know Bob Barker
Yeah, he
handed
is.
it off
I
to
still
Drew Carey.
can't believe how I missed that one. Jeez, what an
Yeah.
expert.
Yeah, they're protecting their tongues.
But I mean, she's only got what other hands going to come out. I mean, I don't know. Really,
They're little kids.
I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
I just could have kept my mouth shut.
yeah, pretty much. Me too. Anybody with any sense would have. But Mouth has got a big ego, and
All
he's
right.
got.
Well, why don't you say something for a little bit after
There we
that?
go.
I'm still.
Honestly, there's not a whole lot going on in this minute.
That's the great part about live podcasting.
Yeah.
Right there. That's why we don't talk about what each one of us have before.
Exactly.
Because one of the things that, I admire Howard Stern so much for is he never wanted to have the conversations off the air.
Yeah.
He always wanted to save it for the air. And if anybody ever talked about it before, that's the one thing that would piss him off.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this.
That's the beauty of this.
Because
Yeah.
if we would have talked about this before, then we would have never got this.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't have looked like an idiot. So.
I can't have that happen. I do not have a whole lot for this minute, except that we've got some great like physical comedy from Jeff Cohen as Chunk, and whenever he falls out of the chair when they sit down, which is so funny. And then of course the switchblade, that whole idea. But outside of that, I don't have anything except for the threat is growing, and suddenly we have to see Mikey really step up and be the captain here and start to try and get together with his team to figure out how the hell they're going to get out of this situation and start to put it together. They're giving Chunk the time to explain everything, still not believing what he's saying, and it's probably right around the time that they might have come to some kind of conclusion that Ma Fratelli comes back with their waters, and it's,
There's the only
disgusting.
One of the other things I do have is when they finally sit down after Chunk gets himself up after falling out of the table. Data's like, what happened to the two polyester suit guys? Mm-hmm. And Chunk is still having a hard time talking. It's like he knows about the bullet holes, but he finally is able to explain that. And the amazing part about it, and we've talked about it before, because Chunk has cried wolf so many times.
Yeah.
Mouth says, I'm tired of hearing your BS stories. And Mikey and Data both say, shut up. So again, here is Chunk with the ability to tell the truth, trying to tell the truth about, trying to warn them about what's going on. And they literally will have none of it.
Yeah.
So, and the only other thing I have is right when they're trying to have this conversation, Ma slams the 4 glasses of water down, and this has always been, even as a kid, one of the grossest things ever, looking at that water.
Oh my God, it's disgusting.
And I've still tried to figure out what it is. Like, what do you think? It's just been nothing. The water hadn't been running so long, and
I think it's coming out of some tap.
But it's almost not even just brown. It's like a reddish color.
It's rust. It's like it's coming out of some nasty drain.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
And the other thing, the last thing I have, of course I said the last thing was the last thing, but the last thing I have is Mikey accidentally calls Ma Fratelli like either sir or man or something,
I mean, ma'am.
Yeah, and which would be understandable with a lovely individual such as her.
That's true.
So anyway,
That's quite lovely.
That's enough of me talking and making a fool out of myself
There you
this
go.
minute. That's all I have, Brady.
That's it for me, too. All right, well, everybody, thanks again, as always, for tuning in for Goonies Minute. And tomorrow we're going to see you back here with Goonies Minute number 33. So until then, this is Brady.
And this is Chris.
And we're here to remind you that Goonies
Never say die.
Goonies Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the show, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can find us at GooniesMinute.com, Facebook.com/GooniesMinute, Twitter.com/GooniesMinute, and at Instagram @GooniesMinute. You can contact us at GooniesMinute@gmail.com. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at Patreon.com/PeleMedia. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/PeleMedia and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/PeleMedia.